Assalamu alaikum to all of you. Topic of my presentation is Bediuzzaman Said Nursi's approach to modern education. I have tried to divide this paper into two parts. The first relates to the educational system which is tried to evolve, and it is regarding the theoretical aspect of the educational ideas regarding them as a medicine to cure the ills of the society, the faith-based educational reform system. The second part deals with the practical manifestation of this form of Madrasa-Zahra. I have tried to glean from writings and speeches of Bediuzzaman Said Nursi as reflected in RISALE-I the various curriculum which he devised for his Madrasa-Zahra project. To declare that ignorance is the leading enemy and to think that this enemy can be eliminated only through education, Bediuzzaman Said Nursi presented a well-educated model of community. Nursi's views on unifying educational system by Madrasa-Zahra project approach are original and unique. Nursi's view that religious science should be taught in the secular schools, maktabs, and the positive science in the religious schools, madrasas, so that the structure of secular education are salvaged from irreligious behavior and the religious books schools from bigotry are very progressive. Education based on faith was the central point of Nursi's education philosophy. Nursian view is concerned that knowledge based on belief in God is very much worthy of consideration. He believed that the science conscience is eliminated by the religious sciences and the mind is eliminated by the science of civilization, and wisdom occur from the combination of the two. Thus Said Nursi developed his ideas on educational reforms and created his own method of teaching, combining the religious science with modern science. This linking of ilm, knowledge, and iman, faith, form the core of Nursian model of educational system. These terms, ilm and iman, although has been examined by scholars individually, but the deep-seated interlink between them had rarely been explored. In this regard, Nursian concept of education based on belief in God and education produced from belief in God is very much worthy of consideration. Said Nursi believed that the educational system of society should be the integration of knowledge and faith. By faith, he means the strong belief in Allah and the proper practicing of religious virtues, because without practicing faith is nothing. According to him, it is essential that faith and knowledge complement each other. For if any of these two factors of education, knowledge and faith, lose, then that education system or concept cannot make any difference or progress. Will Grant, in his masterpiece Pleasure of Philosophy, is in complete accord with Said Nursi's views on education. He observed, Will Grant, I quote, education that is entirely scientific and materialistic can produce nothing but tools and modern machines. It alienates man from beauty and estranges him from wisdom. The 20th century had witnessed unprecedented attack on the foundation of faith by materialistic in the name of science and advance. Nursi responded to these attacks by devoting all his efforts to save and strengthen belief, which he viewed as the most important matter for a better humanity. And he did this by trying to establish that there is no enmity between any science and faith, but they are allies. Nursi was not satisfied with the education system prevalent at that time. During this time, there was no system of education in the country offering both scientific and religious training. Makatib and Madaris as the places of popular education at that time seemed to carry pride in their separate curricula, with each critical of the other. He often expressed his frustration towards traditional religious scholars whose discussion could not provide solution to the major problems of the time. Nursi was convinced that religion did not consist solely of faith matters, but due to its comprehensiveness, it is also connected with the world of exact science, including sociology, politics, and economics. To comprehend the knowledge, understanding of religious knowledge of all these subjects are also necessary, but at the same time, he gave religion a position of primacy over all types of sciences. He argued that Islam is the master and guide of sciences and the chief and father of all true knowledge. This led to him evolve his own scheme of ideal system of education. Bediuzzaman felt that the existing educational system was not addressing the need of the society. It was rather furthering gap between two sections of society, intelligentsia of religious sciences and that of modern sciences. Not even that, the both streams had misunderstanding about each other. In his view, students of modern educational system should be trained in religious subjects, and similarly, product of the religious school should be well equipped with the modern trend of world, so that the two sections of society would have enough opportunity to understand both the sciences, utilizing their skills. To give practical shape to his thought on educational reforms, Said Nursi went to Istanbul at the time in the year of 1907 to present his proposal before the Sultan. I'm not in detail how he got the access to the Sultan. The heart of these proposals was bringing together the joint teaching of traditional religious sciences and modern sciences, yet important to structuring the curriculum, which was extremely modern in approach. He laid down certain guidelines, principles to be followed in the functioning of the madrasa. The instruction should be given in language known by the students. In other words, Munazarat, Nursi stated that these should be trilingual, with Arabic being compulsory, Kurdish permissible, and Turkish necessary. In the same work, he also stated that Kurdish scholars who were trusted by Turks and Kurds should be selected as teachers, as well as those who knew the local language. It was necessary to take into account the capacity and cultural level of the community they were to serve. The madrasa should be an equal footing with the official secular schools, and like them, their examination should also be recognized. On many places, Nursi stressed the need for students to specialize in one subject for which they have an aptitude. In addition, only subjects, they study those subjects which complement it. Nevertheless, it should be pointed out that a specialization in particular subject presented a radical break with traditional methods. Finally, a further point which could be thought of as radical was Bediuzzaman's views that public opinion should prevail among both the ulama and the students. That is to say, he believed that it was a scholastic despotism and offspring of political despotism which has opened the way to blind imitation, taqleed, and barred the way to reaching for the truth. During conversation with the Dr. Bediuzzaman described in detail the need for creative study, debate, and return to the study of essential religious sciences by the students. He then goes on to analyze the reasons for the ineffectiveness of the preachers who played such a vital role in educating the masses of the people and suggested various reforms. He introduced new methodology of teaching. The lesson should be given to the students should not contain academic words only, but be made very interesting. It should be given in a language they understand and through simple sentences and concrete examples. It is the responsibility of the teacher to arouse curiosity and interest of the student in the subject. In one of the munazara, Nursi insistently stated that madrasa should abandon the old style of studying and start a new method and content. The students should be closely monitored and properly guided based on their performance. It is necessary to teach in the form of debating so that the students will develop constructive synthesizing and discovering intelligentsia. With this view, Nursi implies teaching in the form of education, in the form of question and answer. Bediuzzaman criticized those scholars who live among the pages of the books and do not proceed beyond theory. He wants scholars to give importance to application and experiments in education. He therefore rejects the educational approach based on memorization and wants to introduce an education approach that gives importance to practical thought and development of inquisitive thinking in the minds of the students. In this way, the educational model given by Sayyid Nursi was very comprehensive, progressive, and caters needs both of religion, science, morality, and thus makes a harmonious blending of all the three in a holistic manner. His ideas about integration of science and technology with education is very futuristic and rewarding given the present situation of the Muslims in education field. The unique civilizational feature of Bediuzzaman model makes it a more suitable and culturally viable model for Muslims in its global perspective as well. NURSI'S model provides an alternative which meets the demand of modern times but does not neglect the much needed value the education should imbibe to face the civilizational challenges and onslaught of atheism, materialism, and westernization on Islam and its civilization. The education model given by Sayyid Shibli and Maududi have met but with less success in convincing the traditional Muslim clergy about the tenacity of modern sciences vis-a-vis religious sciences. But the Bediuzzaman project model presented by NURSI are very appropriate, rewarding, and progressive. The Sayyid, religious personality and great visionary, envisaged a model based on Western standards of morality and scientific temper, but he ignored the basic religious elements which were being trampled over under his feet because Western secularism and atheism were the leading educational undercurrents at that time in the West. Sayyid's own way on religion, his own way of interpretation of Islam and endeavors which his mind was making to synthesize the harmonious and harmonize his religious traditions with the spirit and knowledge of modernity were unacceptable to most of his fellow Muslims. Although Sayyid too believed in the compatibility of religion with modern sciences, but as opposed to Sayyid's views, NURSI had a different perspective on science. Because NURSI argued, Islam is the master and guide of the sciences, and the chief and father of all true knowledge. Maududi's model of education system is more a critic of Sayyid's model of secular education than providing a practical alternative. Viewed in this perspective, NURSI'S model of education surpasses all these models where both the objectives of empowerment through education and integration of religion with science and technology can comfortably be realized practically in a convincing balance. And the unique civilizational features of Bediuzzaman model makes it a most suitable and culturally viable model for Muslims in its global perspective as well. Therefore, studying this model in depth is highly desirable in the context of the modern onslaught on the ideas of Islam. Muslim model provides an alternative which meets the demand of modern times but does not neglect the much needed value the education should imbibe to face the challenge in the wake of the onslaught of atheism and materialism in the development of modernization and progress. I'm concluding the part that Bediuzzaman thus got twice funds for the construction of his university, his dream. Its foundation was laid in 1913, but it could not be completed due to war and apathy of pious foundations and the inability of the state to bear the promised fund in the view of financial crunch. When the Republic was founded, NURSI again approached the Turkish Grand National Assembly and the signature of 163 members of parliament. Out of 200, a fund of more than 15,000 lira were allotted to it, for it was never released because of the strained relation that he developed between NURSI and Mustafa Kemal Pasha due to the latter's progressive and un-Islamic policies. However, the Democratic Party government which came to power in 1950 showed respect to demand of the people and to NURSI and established Erzurum University. Thus fulfilled NURSI's cherished long dream. At the opening of the university, NURSI expressed his happiness and said, "My university would be like the event in the course of time. The higher education institution that was desired to be established was going to serve primarily to Anatolia and the Middle East countries like Iran, Arabia, Pakistan, Turkestan, and Afghanistan. It was going to render an important service to realize peace and fraternity." This is all about the paper on NURSI studies.
Thank you very much, Dr.